Traveling with vacuum cleaners, unveiling the past and charting a dynamic future. Hello dear friends, welcome to our channel. Today in an engaging and informative video, we intend to explore the history of vacuum cleaners and then introduce the most advanced models and their prices. So stay with us for an exciting journey into the fascinating world of vacuum cleaners. Part 1. History of vacuum cleaners. A vacuum cleaner is a device that collects debris, dirt, and dust through suction. Some vacuum cleaners also operate with the use of water. The history of the vacuum cleaner dates back to years before the invention of the first vacuum cleaner models. Initially, people used traditional tools such as handheld brooms or manual carpet sweepers to clean their spaces. However, over the time and with technological advancements, the invention of the first vacuum cleaner, named Puffing Billy, occurred in 1901 by Hubert Cecil Booth. But let's go back a bit further, to the year 1860. The evolved version of the vacuum cleaner is derived from the carpet sweeper called the Neptune. The first handheld models, utilizing bellows, were produced in the 1860s, and the first motorized designs emerged in the early 20th century. In 1860, a handheld vacuum cleaner was invented by Daniel Hess of West Union, Iowa, known as the Neptune vacuum. It used a rotating brush to collect dust and had a bellows for generating suction. While the initial design was by Daniel Hess in 1860, it was later patented in the United States on 8 of June 1869 by Ives McGehee. Another early model, the Whirlwind, was invented by Ives McGehee in Chicago in 1868, and a similar design was created by Melville Reuben Bissell in 1876 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, United States. Bissell also produced the Neptune vacuum. In 1898, a vacuum cleaner with a gasoline engine was invented, but it had a drawback. It sucked in air but clogged the intake, leading to explosions, and it was cumbersome. The first modern-style vacuum cleaner, the kind we use today, was invented by Hubert Cecil Booth, an individual from England, in 1901. The idea for this vacuum cleaner was inspired by a demonstration of a Thurman machine at the Empire Music Hall in London. Booth, seated in the audience, covered his mouth with a handkerchief and drew air into it, realizing that dust was collected on the handkerchief. Seeing the dust accumulated, he realized the merit of his idea. The vacuum cleaner he created had an internal combustion engine that generated a piston pump drawing air through a cloth filter, preventing explosions or air accumulation. People called it Puffing Billy. However, this vacuum cleaner was too large to enter buildings, and only its pipes were brought in through windows. The first portable vacuum cleaner using suction and transportable for household use was designed by Walter Griffith in 1905. He used a cylinder for dust collection and a flexible hose. In the following year, in 1908, James Murray Spangler invented a vacuum cleaner he called the suction sweeper, using water instead of a filter for dust separation. The first portable vacuum cleaner with a motor was invented by a janitor who wanted to have an easier time while working. James, working as a sweeper at the Zollinger department store, had asthma. The dust from sweeping irritated his lungs, and he decided to find a solution to this problem. He decided to create an electric carpet sweeping machine. In 1907, he built the first version using a mechanical carpet sweeper as a base. He installed an electric motor from a sewing machine and placed fan blades in a hole behind the box of the vacuum cleaner. The motor rotated the vacuum cleaner brushes, separating dust from the floor, and the fan blades directed the air into a dust bag, which he had made from a pillowcase. For an improved version he called the suction sweeper. He used a wooden soapbox as the body. The invention worked. He used it to clean the Folwell building. His asthma reduced, and eventually he had an invention that he could sell. He continued to improve it, and on June 2, 1908, he patented it. Spangler attempted to build his own suction sweeper. He found investors, but when he applied for a patent, the investors backed out, leaving him without the resources to mass-produce the device. During the time, he showed the machine to his cousin's son, William Hoover, who was a manufacturer of equestrian leather goods. Hoover faced his own challenges as automobiles were gaining popularity and the demand for horse equipment was diminishing. Recognizing an opportunity, Hoover purchased a patent for the Spangler vacuum cleaner in 1908. Initially, he was producing and selling 6 vacuum cleaners per day, but he came up with the idea of offering potential buyers a free 10-day trial. He also hired door-to-door salespeople to showcase the new machines to the public. All of these strategies greatly contributed to the successful sales. The vacuum cleaner was initially a luxury tool, but after World War II, middle-class households could afford it, and gradually many families could own and procure one for themselves. Today we have various types of vacuum cleaners. Some still use filters for dust, while others collect dust through cyclone separation. Some can even collect liquids. Different types of vacuum cleaners exist today, including larger, more powerful models and smaller ones like handheld vacuum cleaners, which are easily portable with battery power. Most of them are manually operated, but some types of vacuum cleaners have self-propelled or even robotic capabilities. Part 2. Advanced models. Now that we are familiar with the history of vacuum cleaners, let's introduce some of the most advanced models. Number 1. Extreme 5000 model. This vacuum cleaner utilizes powerful suction technology and HEPA filters for air purification, allowing you to have higher air quality in your home. With smart programming, it automatically detects and optimizes cleaning in different spaces. The price of this model in the market is around $200, but considering its features and quality, it offers great value for the purchase. Number 2. Zoom Clean 7000 model. With a lightweight design and high suction power, this vacuum cleaner enables you to easily reach even remote areas. Equipped with a powerful battery, the Zoom Clean 7000 model has a long battery life and it quickly charges. Priced at approximately $150, this vacuum cleaner allows you to cost-effectively utilize advanced technology. In this video, we delved into the history of vacuum cleaners and then introduced some of the most advanced models and their prices. We hope the information provided in this video have been useful and engaging for you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel to stay informed about our future videos. Thank you for staying with us until the end of the video. Before drinking your next cup of coffee, watch this video first. No one knows exactly how or when coffee was discovered, although there are many myths surrounding this. Many believe that coffee was first discovered in Ethiopia. There is a story that tells of a shepherd named Kaldi from Ethiopia in the 11th century AD, who first discovered the potential of these beloved beans. The name coffee is derived from the region and a city in southwest Ethiopia called Kaffa. He noticed that when he took his herd to graze and they consumed a certain plant, they became very energetic and did not sleep at night. Kaldi shared this observation with a monk from a local monastery who also realized that by drinking the coffee, he could stay awake for long hours. The monk shared his discovery with other monks, and their energizing properties of the beans quickly spread among the people. Local monks began to dry the beans and send them to other monasteries. Over time, the dried beans made their way to the Middle East, gaining many enthusiasts. Coffee cultivation began for the first time among farmers in Yemen. The first time these beans sprouted and transformed into the seeds we recognize as coffee today was in Turkey. After roasting, the dried beans were ground and boiled in water, creating the initial version of the beverage we now know as coffee. Likely, coffee was first introduced to Europe by Venetian merchants. Due to its stimulating effects, there were many criticisms from Catholics claiming the drink to be wicked and demonic. However, the Pope, who enjoyed coffee himself, declared to his members that the beverage was simply misunderstood and there was no impediment to drinking it. Coffee houses quickly spread across Europe and soon became gathering places for intellectuals and venues for discussions and debates among them. The first time immigrants arrived in America, this dark beverage quickly gained popularity. During the American Revolution, when patriots refused to drink tea in protest, coffee was embraced as the national beverage. Since then, coffee has been recognized as the most beloved beverage in all countries. Top coffee-producing countries in the world. According to reports published by the International Coffee Organization, the top 10 coffee-producing countries are as follows. Number 1, Brazil. Number 2, Vietnam. Number 3, Colombia. Number 4, Indonesia. Number 5, Ethiopia. Number 6, Honduras. Number 7, India. Number 8, Uganda. Number 9, Mexico. Number 10, Peru. These 10 countries hold over 87% of the market share for this commodity. Brazil is recognized as the largest producer, accounting for nearly 40% of the world's coffee production. Many regions in Brazil have a climate perfectly suited for coffee cultivation. Coffee farms cover approximately 27,000 square kilometers in Brazil, with the majority located in Minas Gerais, Sao Paulo, and Paraná. Brazil distinguishes itself from most coffee-producing countries by sun-drying the unwashed coffee cherries instead of washing them. The country's impact on coffee production is so significant that the 60-kilogram bags historically used for exporting beans from Brazil remain the global standard for measurement, production, and trade. Different types of coffee beans. Coffee beans come in various types, and you've probably heard of the names Arabica and Robusta. In reality, coffee is not limited to just these two types, but these two well-known varieties constitute the majority of the world's coffee consumption. Arabica, Robusta, Liberica, and Excelsa are 4 types of coffee beans that we will introduce. Robusta. Robusta coffee beans are less expensive than Arabica beans because they are easier to cultivate. However, the lower price tag should not deceive you, as Robusta contains higher amounts of caffeine and can pack a strong punch to your mornings. Robusta is popular in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. It has a strong and bitter taste and is commonly used in instant coffee or espresso drinks. Taste: strong and bitter. Caffeine content: high. Arabica. Arabica coffee beans are abundantly found in various parts of the world, such as North America, Brazil, and Vietnam. Those who enjoy brewing their coffee often choose Arabica for its sweet and mild flavor. This type of coffee plant requires more attention to maintain its sweetness, and therefore it is sold at a higher price. Arabica also has moderate amounts of caffeine compared to other beans. Taste: sweet and mild. Caffeine content: moderate. Liberica. Liberica beans, rarer than any other type, are renowned for their robustness. Cultivated natively in Central and West Africa, this type of coffee brings a prominent and smoky flavor to your palate. Since Liberica requires warm and humid climates for growth, it is not wildly produced on a large scale. If you ever find yourself in Indonesia or the Philippines, be sure to treat yourself to a cup of smoky and nutty Liberica coffee. Taste: nutty and smoky. Caffeine content: low. Excelsa. Excelsa coffee beans are essentially a variety of the Liberica bean and are primarily grown in Southeast Asia. This plant thrives best at higher altitudes, with tree heights ranging from 6 to 9 meters. Excelsa imparts a sour and fruity taste to your coffee cup and is usually blended with other beans to achieve a richer taste. Taste: sour and fruity. Caffeine content: low. 3 popular methods for preparing and serving coffee are: first, Turkish, second, French press, and third, espresso. Turkish coffee brewing method. The Turkish method is one of the ancient ways of brewing coffee that is still used in the Middle East, North Africa, Turkey, and Greece. In this method, coffee is poured into a jezve, a small coffee pot, along with water, and it is allowed to slowly come to a boil. Now we're going to talk about the precise preparation method for this type of coffee. The coffee beans should be ground to the finest size. First, pour cold water into the jezve. For each cup of coffee, fill about 3/4 of the cup with cold water and pour it into the jezve. The water level should reach the beginning of the neck or constriction of the jezve, and it should not overflow, otherwise it may spill. Now add the coffee powder to the water. For each Turkish coffee cup of water, you will need 2 teaspoons of coffee. After a short period, approximately 2 minutes, when the temperature reaches about 70 degrees Celsius, the coffee starts to bubble around the edges. The gathering of bubbles create a layer on the surface of the coffee, known as coffee foam or cream. At this stage, remove the coffee from heat to let the temperature and foam settle a bit. Never let the temperature exceed 75 degrees Celsius, as it may extract too much flavor from the coffee, resulting in a burnt taste. Carefully and slowly return the boiling coffee to low heat and repeat this process 3 times until the coffee foam gains consistency. Now pour the coffee gently into the cup and enjoy your drink. French press coffee brewing method. French press coffee, one of the easiest ways to brew coffee, especially at home or in the office, and is also thinner than other types of coffee. It is prepared using a French press or an electric French coffee maker that can keep it warm for an extended period. French coffee roasting done locally in the 19th century has been one of the darkest roasts, and it is still roasted to the same degree. During the French coffee roasting process, the internal temperature of the coffee beans reaches a very high level, around 240 degrees Celsius. As the coffee gets darker, more oil is present on the beans. For this reason, French roasted coffee beans have a darker color and are coated with oil. In comparison, a cup of French press coffee has less caffeine than a cup of espresso. Espresso coffee brewing method. Espresso coffee is ground finer than French press and coarser than Turkish coffee and is brewed using a special espresso machine. In this method, water is forced through the coffee under high pressure, extracting the coffee essence completely. Espresso is served in a smaller cup compared to Turkish coffee, and it forms a thin and bright layer on top without any grounds. Espresso is one of the most popular and beloved coffees worldwide. It serves as the best for various drinks like lungo, cappuccino, latte, americano, and more. Today, with the advancements of technology, industrial equipments have been developed for brewing coffee and producing various beverages from these magical beans. Over time, these machines have become more advanced, leading to increases in the quality of the produced coffee. Such equipments include both industrial and home coffee makers. Following are 5 of the best home espresso machines in 2023. Best espresso machine overall, Breville Barista Express Impress. Best value espresso machine, DeLonghi Stelosa. Best upgrade espresso machine, Rancilio Silvia. Best fully automatic espresso machine, Jura E8. Best portable espresso machine, Vaqueco Picopresso Portable. Properties of coffee. Coffee contains minerals and is rich in antioxidants. The most important active substance in coffee is caffeine. After consumption, caffeine is immediately absorbed by the body, enters the bloodstream, and directly affects the central nervous system. It initially inhibits adenosine, which is responsible for the feeling of tiredness and drowsiness, and then influences the production of norepinephrine and dopamine, increasing the production. Norepinephrine is essential for maintaining focus, emotional control, learning, and perception, while dopamine is the key factor in abilities, energy, and pleasure. This is why students and learners, especially during exam nights, when they feel drowsy and tired, often find relief and increased control over their behavior and learning after consuming a cup of coffee. They experience more energy and happiness. Various experiments on humans have shown that coffee can impact brain performance, including aspects such as memory, mood, alertness, energy, reaction time, and cognitive function. Caffeine induces the release of adrenaline, leading to increased energy, metabolism, and vitality in humans. Therefore, having a cup of coffee in the morning before leaving home or in the afternoon after a long working day can provide a sense of energy, joy, and motivation for future activities. In the following, we will delve into the characteristics of coffee. Benefits of bitter coffee for the liver. The liver is a vital organ in the body, and various diseases such as hepatitis and fatty liver can lead to conditions like cirrhosis, causing the liver to become damaged. It has been proven that the benefits of bitter coffee for the liver can protect against cirrhosis, and individuals who consume approximately 4 cups of coffee per day are 80% less likely to be exposed to this disease. Coffee is usually consumed with sugar and milk. However, if you can consume it better without sugar, its effects will be more pronounced. Other benefits of coffee for the body. Various experiments have highlighted the fat-burning effects of caffeine, making it a common ingredient in weight loss supplements and diets. A cup of coffee contains various substances such as vitamin B2, B5, manganese, potassium, magnesium, and niacin. Consuming 3 to 4 cups of coffee per day can provide your body with the necessary amounts of these nutrients. One of the benefits of coffee is its potential to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, protect against Parkinson's disease, act as a safeguard against Alzheimer's, and contribute to preventing cognitive decline. Coffee consumption is also highly effective in preventing and improving depressive conditions. Drawbacks of coffee. Like any other substance, moderation should be observed when consuming coffee. Even a small amount of coffee can lead to increased blood pressure, making it less suitable for individuals with hypertension. Additionally, coffee can cause the exertion of a small amount of calcium from the body, which may contribute to bone fragility with excessive consumption. Adverse effects of coffee and overconsumption can affect the nervous system, disrupt sleep, and increase irritability. Some reports suggest that excessive coffee intake may lead to reflux, stomach acid regurgitation, and gastric irritation in susceptible individuals. Similar to tea, coffee contains some tannins. Therefore, individuals suffering from anemia or iron deficiency should drink coffee 1 hour before or 2 hours after their meals. Due to its impact on the nervous system, it is advisable for pregnant women to reduce or completely avoid coffee consumption during pregnancy. If a woman experiences recurrent miscarriages or fertility issues, discontinuing coffee consumption may be recommended. Coffee is a massive industry worldwide, employing millions of workers. Beyond being a source of livelihood for many, coffee serves as an excellent way for numerous people to kickstart their day. Even if you don't enjoy drinking coffee, the fresh aroma is likely to captivate your senses. If you don't like coffee, you're in the minority on a global scale. While this dark beverage isn't for everyone, for its enthusiasts who benefit from a daily dose of caffeine, it's considered a daily necessity. I personally enjoy espresso with a bit of milk and sugar. What type of coffee do you prefer? Comment below. Thank you for joining us until the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and enable notifications to see more videos. Until the next time, take care. Is there a fate worse than death? Is there a scenario where a criminal would gladly choose capital punishment over life imprisonment? Well, as surreal as it sounds, there are prisons in this world that make the death penalty a merciful sentence. And in this video, I'm going to show you 10 of the worst. So take a deep breath, because things are about to get very ugly. Number 10. Black Dolphin Prison, Russia. Ask any Russian you know and they'll tell you that life in any Russian prison is incredibly tough. But this high security Black Dolphin Prison redefines that quality. Located on the Kazakhstan border, Black Dolphin is one of Russia's oldest prisons, and it got its name from the statue at the front of the building, which the prisoners built themselves. That's strange because Black Dolphin is not really known for its freedom. In fact, the only way to escape this prison is by dying. That is the fate of every inmate because only inmates with life sentences are sent to Black Dolphin. The prison houses about 700 inmates who together have a murder count of about 3,500. Shared equally, that is at least 5 victims per inmate. But murder is not the worst skill on their resume. Black Dolphin also houses cannibals, assault perpetrators of the worst kind, maniacs, terrorists, and pedophiles. 2 inmates are forced to share brutally built 50-square-foot cells that are secured behind 3 sets of steel doors, and these cells are under 24-hour surveillance, and guards make their rounds every 15 minutes. The prisoners hardly ever leave their cells. But when they do, they're blindfolded and made to walk bent at the waist. This way, they never have a sense of their surroundings. There is no prison yard and no cafeteria, as inmates are forced to eat only meals of soup and bread in their dingy cells. If hell was a prison, the Black Dolphin would be a strong contender. Death often comes without warning if an inmate is not a gang member, and that's why from 2004 to 2015, only gang members were sent to this hellhole. But sometimes being a gang member is not enough, and most of the time they're the least of your concern because the living conditions are so bad and the prison is so overcrowded that getting simple things like food to eat or a place to lay your head could easily turn into a fight to the death with someone contesting your claim. The prison's reputation for lawlessness and violence is so real that prison guards are terrified of entering the prison, and the result, the entire prison system is run by the gang members. Number 8. Petak Island Prison, Russia. It is called the Alcatraz of Russia for a reason, and that reason would put the fear of Mother Russia into the heart of the devil. Sitting in isolation on the vast Nosovero Lake, this tiny island prison houses 193 prisoners, all on life sentences. Unsurprisingly, the inmates are usually the worst of the worst, and each of them are kept in a small 2-man cell for 23 hours every day. Escape is impossible because inmates are not even allowed out of their cell for any reason, and that 1 hour they're allowed out of lockdown is spent standing in a cage that they can barely pace in. However, the cherry on this terrible reality, what makes it worse than Black Dolphin, is the lack of basic sanitation facilities. Number 7. Bang Kwang Prison, Bangkok, Thailand. Bang Kwang Prison is one of the worst prisons on earth for a very specific reason. Many of its inmates were once tourists, and because the prison facility is so overcrowded, these offending tourists have to cramp up in the same space with prisoners on death row, and the offenses that could put you into Bang Kwang are often very trivial. Reading the wrong book, staying in groups of 5, or even eating a sandwich in public could get you a one-way ticket to Bang Kwang. Life in Bang Kwang is beyond harsh for inmates. In the first 3 months of their sentence, new inmates are required to wear iron chains. To make matters worse, the food there served is often invested with maggots and drinking water is an absolute luxury. But it doesn't end there. Don't think you can just avoid bangkwang by being a good citizen or tourist. A couple of years ago, a British man was thrown into jail when a Thai gang jumped him. And even though he lost an eye and suffered injuries, he still had to do time in bangkwang for fighting back. Number 6. Gitarama Central Prison, Rwanda. Overcrowding is a common denominator with most prisons on this list, but there is no prison that has it as bad as Gitarama Central Prison in Rwanda. In a facility originally designed to hold over 1,300 inmates, 8,000 prisoners have been forced to share this space. In most cases, finding a spot to lie down on the ground is a luxury, and many inmates are forced to stand up all day or negotiate with those who have claimed portions of the ground. And it's not like the ground in dispute is some piece of fine real estate. It is a damp, and more often than not filled with raw feces. Many prisoners have outright died from disease and suffocation, and if you were to mistakenly injure your foot, gangrene would set in and you would either have to cut it yourself, risk death, or watch it fall from your body, but it gets worse than that. There have been several cases of inmates feasting on each other out of hunger, and the cannibalism could be even worse than I just stated because there is little to no documentation on the activities that happen behind these prison bars, and the prison guards have been brainwashed to believe that the prisoners in their charge are subhuman. Last year, 2,000 people died in Rwandan prisons. An overwhelming majority of those deaths happened within the walls of Gitarama Central Prison. Number 5. Kamiti Maximum Security Prison, Kenya. What makes this prison immediately stand out from the rest is that it is home to the worst of the worst. Built in 1954 by its British colonizers, the prison was modeled after an old-style colonial system to house offenders during a state of emergency declared in October 1952. Today, it still has its original gallows, and it has gotten even more hellish than it was more than half a century ago. On one hand, it is overcrowded. A prison that should house 1,200 inmates has almost 3,000 inmates crammed within it. On the other hand, this overpopulation has bred serious viral disease like HIV and AIDS, syphilis, tuberculosis, and a whole plethora of disease that ordinarily should be under control. Even worse is the unending unrest and corruption that plagues the prison system. Since the prison is the government's favorite dumping ground for political dissidents, much of the population is uneducated. This in turn has led to a telephone fraud ring within the prison system. The scores of prisoners defraud innocent Kenyan citizens of their money outside the prison walls. Kamiti Maximum Security Prison is a cesspool of chaos, and only the smartest, the bravest, and the most ruthless can survive behind its walls. Number 4. Galdani Prison, Georgia. They say the prison is better. They say the violence has stopped, but that doesn't take away the terrifying legacy of Galdani Prison. In 2012, a video was leaked by a 35-year-old former prison guard turned whistleblower who filmed the horrors that inmates passed through the hands of other guards. The video is too graphic to show here, but I can tell you what they did and have been doing for decades to prisoners. Every night, random inmates were routinely sodomized with broom handles, and one of such was featured in the videos. They were often beaten, drowned, their bones purposefully broken, burned, all at the hands of the sadistic gods. It was institutionalized torture in the 21st century. A former inmate who had recalled, "They tore off my fingernails, damaged my skull, broke my leg bones, ribs, nose, and teeth. I am 43 years old, but I look like an old man. I often fall down while I'm walking." Today they say the prisons are fine and that the torture has been brought to a halt, but I doubt you'd want to check that for yourself. Number 3. Mendoza Prison, Argentina. The top 90 most dangerous convicts in all of Argentina are held in Pavilion 5 of Mendoza Prison. That section is so dangerous that no guard has the balls to enter it, and they often leave the inmates' meals at predetermined spots around the door. That might sound deviously cool to some, but don't be fooled. Toilets are non-existent as prisoners are forced to defecate in plastic bags and urinate in bottles. There is a literal sewer of garbage, human waste, and slime running through the corridors, and conditions have become so unbearable that there are reports that prisoners literally sewed their mouths shut in protest, demanding better living conditions. And yet it still gets worse. Their food is sludge, and those who aren't strong, fast, or smart enough often go hungry and die. under what the authorities have made a habit of calling mysterious circumstances. Number 2. Diyarbakir Prison, Turkey. Diyarbakir Prison was at the center of one of the most abusive regimes in Turkey in the 1980s and 90s. Thousands of Kurdish men and women suffered horrific forms of torture, and at that time it was regarded as the worst prison in the world. These days, second worst, but nothing has improved. In fact, you could argue that conditions have gotten worse because in the same prison where the sludges of society are being housed, children are also locked up within, and the torture that these inmates are subjected to ranges from physical torture to psychological assault. On the more physical, violent side of things, inmates are beaten, violated, maimed, forced to eat excrement, and electrocuted by their genitalia. On the more psychological, dehumanizing side of things, the same inmates are forced to salute the prison director's dog, participate in random mock executions that might or might not ever happen, and forced to bathe in the sewers. To show you how desperate the situation is, prisoners routinely go on dry fast, protesting prison conditions, and more often than not, these prisoners simply die from starvation. More recently, 4 prisoners set their bodies on fire, and later on an inmate set his cell on fire before hanging himself in resistance. Number 1. Camp 22, North Korea. Camp 22 was not just one prison facility, it is a series of identity prison camps containing up to 200,000 prisoners and stretched across the length of North Korea. The few extremely lucky survivors have likened conditions in the camp to the atrocities committed against the Jews during the Holocaust. Starvation is not a novelty, it is every prisoner's reality. Inmates are fed a sludge of cornmeal and cabbage every day for the duration of their existence. And to avoid dying of malnutrition, prisoners have to supplement their diet with rats and insects. Rats became such an essential part of their diet that rodents literally went extinct. If you know anything about the way rats reproduce, you'll know that is very impressive to say the least. On average, 20 to 25% of the prison population die every year. When inmates are dying of malnutrition, the prison guards make their lives into a satirical piece of horror. Everyone is fair game to the prison guards. Little girls born in the camp are often fed to dogs to train them to be more vicious. Inmates are brutalized as stress relief for the guards, and if they attempt to escape, everyone in their family, even those unaware of their escape attempt, will be tortured. Pregnancy is also strictly forbidden. Those caught pregnant are often tied to a tree, the fetus cut from their stomach, and then they are shot. Dying in Camp 22 is the best thing that can happen to you. Thank you for being with us until the end of the video. In your opinion, which one of these prisons was the worst? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to our channel for more engaging videos and don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated. Take care of your freedom. 10 of the scariest movies in the world that you should see before death. Horror movies have always been an integral part of entertainment for thrill enthusiasts. Films like The Conjuring, Insidious, and The Ring have proven that fear can lurk at any moment, creating a stressful night for you. If you also love watching horror movies and enjoy turning off the lights, trembling under a blanket in front of the couch, don't miss these 10 films. Number 1. Saw. Release year from 2004 to 2023. IMDb rating 7.6 out of 10. The story revolves around John Kramer, who attempts to choose victims for himself and puts them in a challenging game. Victims either succeed in solving the puzzle of the game or must lose their lives. Undoubtedly, one of the world's best horror films is the Saw series. Slashers, a fascinating subgenre within the horror genre, without a hint of doubt are a perfect choice for those who enjoy blood splattering on walls or derive pleasure from the brutal torture of unsuspecting victims. The Saw series has a straightforward and compelling storyline. Number 2. The Exorcist 1 and 2. Release year from 1973 to 2023. IMDb rating 8.1 out of 10. The story narrates the struggle of a single mother to save her daughter from a mysterious illness, later to be revealed that her daughter is possessed by a demon. She seeks help from 2 Roman Catholic priests to commence an exorcism as soon as possible. In the list of the top 10 scariest movies in the world, surely the name of a popular work should not be missing. One of the best supernatural horror films and undoubtedly a gripping masterpiece of Hollywood cinema is The Exorcist. Do you believe in demons? Surely after watching this film, you may tremble at the fear that if you don't believe in these demonic entities, they might come for you someday, pulling your feet from under the blanket, making you shudder. And certainly, you will come to believe in these evil beings. As the film began production, Frederick strongly demanded that Regan's room remain at a temperature of minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, just like a refrigerator, so that the cameras could naturally capture the actor's breath in the cold. He also frequently fired a gun into the air to surprise the crew and actors during filming scenes. Number 3. Psycho. Release year 1960. IMDb rating 8.5 out of 10. After Secretary Marion Crane escapes with $40,000 from her job, she checks into the eerie Bates Motel run by the shy Norman Bates and his dominating elderly mother. Alfred Hitchcock created the film Psycho with a limited budget, using black and white cinematography and utilizing his television series crew. The legendary director Hitchcock financed a significant portion of the film himself, resulting in millions of dollars in revenue for him. The iconic shower murder scene, one of the most famous scenes in cinema history, remains a shining example in film editing textbooks. Still discussed in film schools, this scene is likely memorable due to Bernard Herrmann's masterful music. The synchronized screams of violins, cello, and other instruments create a chilling atmosphere, making it an indelible part of cinema history. Number 4. Midsommar. Release year 2019. IMDb rating 7.1 out of 10. Danny Arthur, a psychology student, experiences psychological trauma after her sister and parents die from carbon monoxide poisoning. This strategy further darkens Danny's relationship with her boyfriend, Kristen Hughes. Months later, she discovers that Kristen and his friends Mark and Josh have been invited by their Swedish friend to participate in a midsummer festival at his ancestral commune in Sweden. Number 5. Us. Release year 2019. IMDb rating 6.8 out of 10. A couple takes their children to a beach house to relax with friends, but their tranquility turns into chaos when unexpected guests arrive. Jordan Peele, born on February 21, 1979 in New York City, is a renowned American comedian, writer, director, and producer known for creating comedy and horror films and television programs that address societal and racial issues. He has created a film that will surely give you chills. The film Us is a different and captivating horror film with tangible and societal elements that will definitely be enjoyed by any serious cinema viewer. If you are looking for a different horror film, Us is worth watching. Number 6. Sijen 3. Release year 2016. IMDb rating 6.1 out of 10. The story revolves around siblings named Sadat and Kader, who have grown up with their childhood friend Orhan and live a happy life. However, when these siblings are involved in a horrifying car accident, their friend makes a desperate deal with the devil to save them. It is always a question for everyone. Which horror film is real, or which one is the scariest? If you're seeking the answer to such a question, Turkish cinema invites you to a haunted party of fear and curse, prayer and magic, jinn, and ultimately pure terror. The Sijen series, with its 8 released episodes, is one of the series inspired by real events that is highly recommended for you to watch. Number 7. The Garage. Release year 2004. IMDb rating 6.4 out of 10. The Garage is a curse that manifests in 2 ways, either when someone dies with intense anger or sorrow. Those who encounter this deadly supernatural force die and in turn become the source of the curse, being reborn in the same form. This chain of endless horror continues from one victim to another. In 2004, American audience became familiar with supernatural terrors in the film The Garage, a remake of the Japanese horror film Ju-on, The Garage, from 2002. Directed by Takashi Shimizu, the film presents the Garage as a curse born to revive someone who dies in the grip of intense anger or grief and inflicts terror on others, creating an ever-present atmosphere of fear and horror. Those who face this supernatural force perish, and the curse is repeatedly born anew, perpetuating the chain of endless fear and terror from one to another. Number 8. The Conjuring. Release year 2013 to 2023. IMDb rating 7.5 out of 10. The Perron family moves to a large and old mansion in a rural village in Rhode Island in 1971. Shortly after, they realize that the estate is haunted by an unknown and dangerous force. The mother of the family desperately seeks the help of 2 supernatural investigators. It goes without saying that the first installment of the Conjuring series is one of the best horror films that everyone should watch. After this successful film, the series continued with movies like Annabelle and others, and it has now become one of the biggest horror franchises that can keep you scared for hours. The allure of this story lies its basis on a true story, and rest assured the film knows how to evoke the feeling of fear in every cell of your body. Number 9. A Quiet Place 1 and 2. Release year 2018, IMDb rating 7.5 out of 10. This film narrates the story of a family living separately in absolute silence due to the fear of an unknown threat that reacts to any sound and hunts down the source of those sounds. The movie portrays a post-apocalyptic world where terrifying and savage alien creatures are triggered by the slightest noise, forcing humans to make every effort to remain silent, protect their families from being haunted by these creatures, and survive. This film truly brings out a sense of dread and excitement in people, coupled with moments that might make you hold your breath due to the fear of making the slightest noise. Number 10. Annabelle. Release year 2014. IMDb rating 5.4 out of 10. John believes he has found a suitable gift for his future wife Mia, an old doll in a beautiful white dress. However, the happiness of this couple doesn't last long. One horrifying night, Satanists attack their home and initiate violent acts against the couple. As the cultists try to summon a demon and paint a mysterious bloody symbol on the nursery wall, Annabelle, Mia's doll, becomes tainted, turning a once beautiful object into a demonic entity. This film is a sequel to the Conjuring film series and has been released in 2 parts. Interestingly, Annabelle, the doll in the movie, is real and is currently kept in a secure location. Have you watched any of these films? Or what has been the scariest movie you've ever seen? Share your thoughts in the comments. If the number of likes on this video is high, I will definitely introduce you to another set of 10 horror films in the next video. Thank you for staying with us until the end. To watch more videos from Top Show, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Until the next video, goodbye. Greetings to all friends. In this piece, I'll be explaining 10 of the biggest heights in history for you. I hope you all enjoy it. Number 10. In 2012, 4 armed robbers dressed as women and wearing masks entered a high-end jewelry store named Harry Winston in Paris. This jewelry store is exclusive to extremely wealthy individuals. One of the 4 acted as a guard while the other 3 emptied all the display cases, including the storage area and the safe. They successfully stole 100 million worth of jewels. Interestingly, the same jewelry store had been robbed of 10 million euros worth of jewels the previous year. Since 2008, approximately 25 individuals between the ages 15 and 18 have been arrested in connection with this robbery. However, the masterminds behind this heist have not been caught, enjoying their luxurious and new lives. Number 9. Around 80% of the world's uncut diamonds are initially sent to the Antwerp Diamond Center in Belgium. Thieves were well aware of this fact. Several small-scale thefts had occurred before, but none matched the magnitude and complexity of the heist in 2003. In this heist, where over $200 million worth of diamonds were stolen, the thieves could have taken millions more, but they ran out of space. Leonardo Notarbartolo, the mastermind and the leader of this heist, spent 3 years planning it. They first acquired an office in a prominent building, with Leonardo posing as an Italian diamond merchant. He immersed himself in the diamond business, gaining the trust of everyone, and no one suspected that he was orchestrating one of the biggest heists of the century. 3 years later, when it was time to execute the heist, he and 3 others replaced the tapes of the surveillance cameras with hook tapes. The main safe they targeted had 10 layers of anti-theft measures, including thermal detectors, Doppler radar, magnetic field sensors, vibration-sensitive sensors, and a lock with 500 million possible combinations. Even today, no one can precisely explain how this heist took place, not even Leonardo. He fell into the hands of the police when one of his accomplices forgot to burn a bag containing documents. He is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence, claiming that a Jewish diamond merchant hired them for the theft, and his group stole only $20 million worth of diamonds. He has no knowledge of the missing diamonds, and most safes were emptied before their arrival. Leonardo claims they orchestrated the heist to defraud an insurance company, but the police does not accept this. And to this day, there is no trace of the stolen diamonds. Number 8. In 1972, a group of 7 individuals from Ohio of the United States targeted a branch of the United California Bank in California and emptied all the vaults. Due to banking regulations, no one was allowed to disclose the amount of money in these vaults. It is estimated that they pocketed around $50 million in 1972, and if adjusted for inflation, they stole approximately $100 million today. This heist even held the record for the largest theft in history. Eventually, the police apprehended them all, and one of the thieves named Christopher, who was the mastermind behind the heist, remained silent when questioned about the amount of money present in the vaults. Number 7. The 7th on the list is the largest diamond heist in history. It is estimated that $118 million worth of diamonds were stolen in this operation, and perhaps even more, as many of them were uncut. Unlike many other heists, this theft did not involve intricate and lengthy planning. In 2012, 2 weeks before the heist, 4 thieves stole a truck from KLM Airlines along with several uniforms to easily access the premises of Amsterdam Airport. On February 25, 2014, they effortlessly entered the Amsterdam Airport, held at gunpoint the vehicle transporting the diamonds within the airport compound, boarded the same vehicles, and made their escape. Interestingly, these diamonds were in transit to the Antwerp Diamond Center in Belgium. According to the police, because the thieves knew exactly what type of vehicle was transporting these diamonds, they believe it was an inside job. So far, several individuals connected to this heist have been arrested, but tangible results are yet to be achieved. Number 6. In the 1970s, the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, led by Yasser Arafat, sought to reclaim Palestinian territories from Israel. As you know, wars and struggles require money. At that time, Lebanon was embroiled in a civil war, and the PLO was robbing banks in Beirut. On the 20th of January 1976, they successfully stole 25 million pounds in gold, cash, and jewelry, which would be worth over $100 million today. They entered the church adjacent to the bank, drilled through the walls, and over 2 days without any interference, emptied all the vaults. Number 5. Valerio Vici, an Italian thief, fled from Italy to England in 1986 because he was wanted for over 50 armed robberies in Italy. He continued his criminal activities in England. One day, he entered a safety deposit center in England called the Knightsbridge Security Deposit Center, pretending to rent a box. Seizing the opportune moment, he trapped the center supervisor and guards, tied their hands and feet, and placed a sign saying, "Back in 15 minutes," on the bank manager's door. He easily brought his accomplices inside, and they stole 50 million pounds, equivalent to $174 million today. The police became aware of the robbery an hour later, but it was too late as the thieves had already left. Vici escaped to South America, but his accomplices were arrested. Surprisingly, due to his foolishness, he returned to England to retrieve his getaway car, leading to his arrest. No one can say what he was planning to do with all that money. Number 4. In the year 2000, employees of a private bank in Iraq arrived to find all doors open and the vaults empty. According to the police, 3 bank guards had stolen $282 million in US dollar bills during the night and disappeared. Detectives believe that paramilitaries assisted them because they needed help transporting such a large amount of money and passing through checkpoints. So far, no one has been arrested. Not a single dollar of the stolen money has been found. Number 3. The third largest art theft took place in 1990. 2 young men dressed as police officers entered a museum during its closed hours. They told the 2 armed guards present that they had come to address a problem. Contrary to the museum's rules, these 2 individuals using police hook keys brought the fake guards into the museum's basement. Quickly realizing their mistake, the 2 young men, without any weapons, imprisoned the guards in the basement, removed all the paintings they wanted, took off the tapes from the surveillance cameras, and escaped. Artworks valued at $300 million were stolen. They were said to be amateurs since they left behind some artworks with much higher values. In 1994, the FBI received a letter stating that if they paid $2.6 million and guaranteed immunity, the thieves would return the paintings. However, they never sent another letter. Number 2. In the year 1990 in London, John Goddard, who was transporting messages and packages for a dealer named Shepard, was suddenly attacked by a thief with a knife. In the bag that was stolen from him, there were 292 million pounds in promissory notes, each of which represented ownership to the holder, similar to cash banknotes. The police arrested a person named Keith Cheeseman for his involvement in the theft, and he was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. However, the police believed that a person named Patrick Thomas had committed the theft. Before the police could apprehend him, they found his corpse with a gunshot wound to his head. Only 2 of these promissory notes have yet to be circulated, and their whereabouts remain unknown. Number 1. Some heights require precise timing and planning, while others demand sheer force. The biggest heights in history was carried out by none other than Saddam Hussein. A day before the United States attacked Iraq, Saddam Hussein, in March 2014, gave his son a letter to take to the central bank and collect the money. With an attempt, he went to the Central Bank of Iraq and within 5 hours removed $1 billion in dollar bills from the bank. However, as you may know, Saddam's son was quickly killed, and Saddam himself, found in a hole, was executed after a trial. Later, they found $650 million inside the walls of one of his palaces, but the remaining $350 million, according to their claim, is lost. Now it's unclear who pocketed the money in all this. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you very much for staying with us until the end of this video. To watch more, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Greetings to all my dear friends and companions. In this video, I will describe 10 bitter and sweet predictions for the year 2050. Number 10. Earth's population in 2050 is expected to be significantly high, with the main reason being advancements in medical science and increased survival rates. The United Nations predicts that the world's population will reach 9.7 billion in that year. Number 9. Currently, Earth is warming due to the consumption of fossil fuels and the resulting pollution. If this trend is not addressed, by 2050, 10% of plant species will be extinct, many coastlines and islands will be submerged, a significant portion of warm lands will become uninhabitable, and almost 1/3 of biodiversity will be lost. Number 8. According to the latest statistics from the International Transport Forum, the global number of vehicles will reach 2.5 billion by 2050. The main reason for this increase is the rising purchasing power of the Chinese population in acquiring automobiles. Number 7. By the year 2050, the world's oceans will be filled with plastic bottles, accompanied by unregulated and industrial overfishing that could lead to the extinction of entire fish species and even bring their numbers close to zero. Number 6. In 2050, over 40% of the world's jobs will be taken over by robots because they are cheaper, better, and faster. However, there is a possibility that new and sedentary jobs for humans may increase, leading to more health issues caused by reduced physical activity. Number 5. Air pollution will be severe in 2050 due to the vast number of vehicles and the warming of the Earth. Humanity will face serious and dangerous consequences of high levels of pollution. Number 4. In 2050, many currently incurable diseases will be discovered and treated, including the development of vaccines for AIDS and other previously incurable illnesses. However, it is uncertain how many new dangerous diseases and viruses will emerge by that time. Number 3. Nearly 24% of the global population is literate, but it is predicted that by 2050, 99% of the population will be literate, which is fortunately good news. Number 2. Another positive prediction is that currently only about 50% of the world's population has access to the internet, but by 2050, 98% of the global population will have internet access. Number 1. In conclusion, the most significant predictions, both good and bad, is that religious, ideological, and ethnic wars will decrease by half compared to today. The reason for this is the rise in cultural awareness and literacy in various parts of the world, and possibly only densely populated areas like India, Pakistan, Nigeria, and Sudan may still experience internal conflicts due to water and food scarcity. Feel free to add your own thoughts in the comments, and to not miss our next video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Until the next video, take care.